sad.
Austin, how do you assess this one?
Bad.
Where do you feel it got away?
What?
Where do you feel it got away?
I think early in the second quarter. I think they went on, like a 10-0 run or something, and we just couldn't get a shot to fall. We were messing up the switches on the other end, and JJ said it this morning. Once you give this team a little sliver of whatever, they can just run away with the game, and that's what they did. And that's why they're the champions. We'll watch film and get better from it.
I mean, they've proven why they're a really good team, obviously, with their success over the last several years. Where do you feel like the gap was tonight in terms of, was it execution? Was the style of play? What led to, obviously, the margin being 30-plus for most of the night?
I think it starts with, I didn't play very well. We as a team didn't play very well. I think you could go around the room and everybody would, kind of agree with that. So I think, if you don't play well against a team like that, you're not going to give yourself a chance to win. You have to be, clicking on all cylinders, locked into every little detail, and, when you don't play well, you're not going to beat them.
Do you look at a game like tonight against a team that, has the thing that you guys want in a championship, and is that the level that you guys want to get to, is saying, like, these are the areas where we need to take the biggest steps? Is that how you respond to a game like this, or is it too early in the season to be, like, thinking big picture that way?
I don't think you want to be playing your best basketball at Game 12. If you could sustain that forever, then that would be nice. But I think you want to be peaking towards the end of the year, and we're still a fairly new team to one another. And obviously, you can watch what they do and the chemistry that they have, and take a lot of the positives that they do on that end, and with that organization, and it's a good example of how to be successul, and I feel like we've taken really good steps this year, and but like JJ said after the game, it's Game 12. There's a lot of basketball to play, and there's a lot of room for growth. So we're going to continue to plug at it every single day and try to get better.
JJ said that there seemed to be some confusion on defense. How much of that was just what they were doing and just how good of a team that they are right now?
If you have a game plan, the other team's going to try to disrupt your game plan. It's a chess match in that way, and what they were doing tonight, had us a little confused. But I would say, if we did what we were supposed to do, then we could have, kept them from, getting off to an early start and feeling good. So, like I said, we'll watch the film, get better, but you're going to have mistakes.
Luka, OKC presents a pretty difficult challenge defensively with the ball pressure. Just wondering, what's a better way to handle that than maybe you guys did tonight? And did you feel like there were moments of that you can learn from and grow from?
Yeah, definitely wasn't our best game. Probably one of the worst this season. But they did a great job. I think Wallace did a great job on me. They're champions for a reason, so they showed that today. I think we need to be more ready. Obviously, it starts with me. I need to be way better than that, and just got to figure out.
2 more games left in this trip, a tough back-to-back. Where do you kind of, you said it starts with you, but where does that start in the game in New Orleans? What's the most important thing?
Yeah, like we said in the locker room, we gotta bounce back. We need to get ready for the New Orleans game. I know they don't have a great record, but they're a physical team. We just need to, I think, start more physical. That's when we don't start physical, it's tough on us. So we just need to bring the energy and the physicality.
JJ said he doesn't feel like this road trip is reflective of who this team's gonna be, but it is kind of what you guys are at right now. What are the issues that
do you see that are correctable like pretty quickly, and what are the things that you think is going to take some more work?
I think, like I said before, two things, physical and energy. We got to start the game better. I feel like when we start game, sloppy, it's not going to be a great game. So I think we need to start with those two things and move it to the New Orleans game.
You've mentioned physicality a couple times in your answers. That's something that's been brought up post-game. Seems like, if not every game, every other game. Is that something that you feel like maybe because maybe the makeup of this team, whatever it may be, that's something that's going to be emphasized just throughout the season to ensure that's at the levels it needs to be at for you guys to be successful?
I think so. Like I said, when we started physical, any games, we did a pretty good job on playing the 48 minutes. When we start like sloppy, it's not our game. So I think we need to start, like I said, that we're physical and with more energy.
Luka, you said they're the defending champions for a reason. They've really, at least through the first 12 games of the season, shown like no signs of letdown. Is there any concern at all about being able to run a team like that down, even big picture, just with where they're at?
I think it's not concern. I think it's more of big motivation. Like I said, they were the champions for a reason, and it's a big motivation. They started the year even better, I think. So it's a big motivation to see how they play and try to stop them.
Luka, independientemente de este partido, últimamente, ganaron 7 de los últimos 10 partidos y se te ha visto desde que estabas jugando con Eslovenia, que vienes con un gran juego. Hoy se te vio un poco apagado, pero ¿crees que puedas sacar algo positivo igual de este partido? Porque igual este puede ser el equipo que necesitan prepararse para vencer, para quedar campeones.
No creo que pueda sacar algo positivo de hoy. Creo que, como he dicho, empieza conmigo. Tengo que hacer muchas cosas mejor. Pero lo bueno de esto es que en 2 días tenemos otro partido y podemos demostrar lo que somos.
Someone like Marcus plays a really big role in that, but I know you've really wanted to step up your game as kind of a leader on this team. So in terms of setting the tone for physicality, how much of a responsibility do you feel in terms of trying to do that in your own way?
Well, a lot for sure. Like I said, it starts with me. I need to do better, especially at the beginning of the game. They came out and they were physical, so that's what we got to do coming in the next games.
Luka, over here. Nico Harrison was fired by the Mavericks yesterday. I know you've spoken about closure regarding the trade. I just wanted to get your reaction to, or what your thoughts were on seeing the news of his firing.
Look, I mean, just city of Dallas, the fans, players, they always have a special place in my heart. I thought I was gonna stay there forever, but I didn't. So there'll always be a special place for me. Always I can call it home. But right now I'm focused on the Lakers, trying to move on. But obviously, always there's going to be part of me in there. But just trying to move on, focus on what we're doing here.
I don't want to get you in trouble with Lakers Nation, but with Nico now gone, and you obviously have a lot of fans back in Dallas, is there a world in which you could ever see yourself playing for that franchise ever again, perhaps one day down the road?
Right now, I'm just focused on the Lakers, man. There's no further comments.
Where did you see the gap start to build and the game get away from you?
Yeah, sometimes when you're not playing well offensively, it can affect what you're trying to do defensively. There seemed to be more confusion, I think, on the court, on that end of the floor, on the defensive end, than I think we anticipated. So I gotta make sure that I've created enough clarity for these guys. SGA scored 7 points on a empty wing ISO. That's our normal defense. It's on the coverage board. We're supposed to be in a flood. We didn't get to a flood. Coming out of a timeout, we were supposed to be in a zone. three guys knew it. Like, again, if I got to say it 9 times, I'll say it 9 times. So I'll take some ownership on that. The offense, they force you at times to be a little disorganized because of how good Caruso and Wallace are individually. There's nothing scheme-wise that we weren't ready for. Just didn't do a good job execution on that end.
You guys were able to at least have it be a competitive game in the third quarter and fourth quarter compared to the first half. Where was there improvement in execution that you saw?
Thought we passed the ball a little bit better to each other. There was a few good offensive sets and early offense that was got us good looks. I think overall though, like, they gave us the advantage a lot and we didn't take advantage of it. We've worked on our shock offense almost every shoot around that we've had, and we kept rolling through the short roll and got too deep on that, and then the advantage was gone. Instead of being able to get the ball there and play 4-on-3, we did it once, we scored. It's just little execution things. We'll continue to get better.
You consider every game to be some sort of challenge or measuring stick or whatever. Does this result make you evaluate the other 11 games at all in any different manner?
I think you have to look big picture, and then you have to look with where your team is at right now. And I don't think it's been a great road trip for us just in terms of how we played. The second half against Charlotte, I liked everything that I saw. But the Atlanta game and tonight were I don't think are reflective of who the group is going to be, but it clearly is who the group is right now. And so we've got to course correct.
Pre-game that once you create an advantage, you have to be decisive. Just the decisiveness, how would you evaluate that from the group tonight?
Like a 0 out of 10 probably for most of the game. Again, they close out and you're playing at a closeout and you don't shoot it, you got to drive it. And too many times we were hesitant. I do think they make you do that. Just watching them again, you come away every time you watch them, Wallace and Caruso and of course Dort, like those three guys in particular, just they take such great pride on the ball. And we didn't do a good job of screening either. So again, lots to clean up. It's nothing that we can't clean up. They're the world champions, and they've got the best record in the league. What they've been able to do over the last 4 or 5 years to build this thing and have continuity and clarity is really impressive. And they're a tough opponent, and we, like most teams in the NBA, they're not going to beat themselves. You got to be at your best to beat them.
JJ, I know obviously your focus is on your team, but when you see Shea and his just sort of consistency and that, not just in production, but like in attention, there was a 3-pointer he missed in like the third quarter. I think they were up 30 at the time, and he reacted like it was like a swing dagger 3. Just like how dangerous of a player is he with that type of attitude?
Well, yeah, I mean he's a killer, just like a lot of the best players in the world are. He's the MVP for a reason. I think he gets the warranted amount of attention and scheming from opposing defenses like we did, and he's still going to figure out a way to get 30. I mean, he's just a really, really good basketball player.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Lakers get blown out by the Thunder. They were never really in this one, fellas. OKC used a 40-20 second quarter to kind of blow this game open early. Listen, OKC's the deepest team in the league. They're missing a couple of key players, still had 7 guys in double figures. They're the best defensive team in the league. Statistically and in every way possible, they're the first team to hold the Lakers to 100 points. Lakers only 92 tonight. And big game, they're the front runners, bottom line, to repeat as champions, at least early in the season. They're 12-1.
They're on their way, Geeter. Reminds me of some of the great dynasties of the past. you know, Robert Horry's team.
Remember, you didn't mention his team at halftime. He's talking about the 80s.
But it does remind me of, you know, some of the greats. You know, Chicago, San Antonio, Lakers. You know, they have a formula, and you know, once you get the formula, you know, and you believe in it and it works for you, all you do is stick in different parts, and it doesn't matter. This team is strong, and you know, Gita, you mentioned that Shea has sit out 7 fourth quarters.
7 of 12 fourth quarters.
See,
he has not been in the
that
game.
reminds me of championship teams that take care of business.
They're resting.
But they take away whatever you think you're going to run offensively, they just take it away. No pick and roll. You got to move the ball a lot and make that defense work. I just don't think the Lakers' offense was conducive to the type of defense that Oklahoma was playing tonight. Their bench performed well, over 20-something points, maybe more.
They're 49.
So, yeah, that's a well-oiled team ready to repeat if nobody gets in the way of them.
Machine.
Yeah. Well, let's give credit where credit's due. This is the only time this team is ever going to get credit for anything. The Clippers. Let's give credit.
Talking about the Shea Gilgeous trade?
Yes, the Shea Gilgeous trade and all the picks they got. So Sam Presti, you get a worthy clap, but not from me. But you got to look at the way this team was constructed from day one. They put all these young pieces together, and they waited. You know, you think about, you know, the trust the process, what the Sixers tried to do. But the one thing that they did, they stayed healthy. They kept, meaning the OKC kept trusting the process. They brought in these young players. And they didn't just bring in young players because you're the most talented. You're the young player we bring that's going to fit this system. Yeah. You're going to come in and we make all of y'all friends. You know, I think about, you know, our team in 2000, outside of Kobe, we were all around the same age. You know, Kobe was, 10 years younger than us? But this team is all around the same age. And when you got teams that's around the same age, you kind of bond a little bit more because you have some similarities. You talk about the same thing. And this team is so connected. And it's amazing how much fun they have together and the way they run that system. So let's just give this whole organization credit, because you think about when they had, Westbrook, KD, and James Harden and went to the finals, and next thing you know, this team was disbanded. But they came back. They reloaded. A lot of teams aren't able to reload like they did.
And stay competitive the whole time with Chris Paul coming in for a year or two.
And so you got to give it up. Westbrook tried to give him a float, but then they brought in Shea. So this team is scary, man. I hate to say it. They're going to be scared for a couple of years because they signed everybody back. And
got draft picks in the future.
Yeah, yes. I mean, they have the Clippers draft pick this year still from that Paul George trade. I mean, truly remarkable.
I said, give the credit to the Clippers for something.
Yeah, they deserve it tonight. Listen, let's look at, we talked a lot about the stars coming into this night, Shea versus Luka. I know it's early in the year, but two of the top contenders for MVP, and Shea gets the better of this one. Look at his numbers. Again, he only played 29 minutes. He seems to never play in the fourth quarter. He scored 30 on 10 of 18. He was 2 of 7, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. Luka, just 19 points, did not play in the fourth quarter either. 7 of 20, 1 for 7 from 3, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. Big game. Shea was that guy tonight. He's just in control. He runs that offense. And he doesn't have to get it in bunches. You just look at the box score and you've seen that he's done it all, and he's done it efficiently.
Yeah, Geeter. I mean, this kid is so deliberate and so under control and so knows what he can do on every possession. He just kind of surveys pick and rolls, ISO situations where he can get his shots. And a true leader. I just think he's a phenomenal teammate, and his teammates play well with him. They play for him. He's a great leader, just unstoppable, and didn't even play the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I want to say this about if you could put up a side by side of Luka shots and Shea shots, they were pretty much the same shots. But what makes it different is Luka's shots were all contested. That shows you how good this team is defensively. You just saw all his shots only one shot was really contested, and he used, like Shaq would say, some feet work, got around him, and got a layup. And so that's the thing about this guy. He's so elusive. With Luka, he's trying so hard to be that guy to take shots. And a lot of his shots, to me, I hate to say it, the bad shots, because you got 3 defenders on you. Move the ball, it'll come back to you, because apparently the whole team are scared to shoot sometime because they want to get you to rock. And like right there, contested shot. And he made it, but still, it's a difficult shot, and it makes it tougher on you, and it wears you down as a player because you've taken such difficult shots.
And I think it's so hard for anyone offensively when they can throw this many bodies at you with length, with speed, with athleticism, James. They're physical as well. This is not an easy team to score against. We saw Austin Reaves struggle as well. He was 0 for 5 from 3, did not get over the 20-point threshold, only had 13, and just couldn't get loose either.
Yeah, there was a diameter there where they couldn't penetrate within 14 feet. They couldn't get inside the lane, Geeta. I mean, Ayton couldn't get in there. What he did, you know, they swarmed him. They were very active with their hands. So when you can't get high percentage shots and you're dependent on long jumpers, and those long jumpers turn into long rebounds, and they get out and run and fast break, and the way they run their offense, I mean, everybody's a threat. They seem to be in the right place at the right time. They're well-oiled. They have a system in place, and they run it well. You take something away, there's somebody else, you know, cutting, Chet or, you know, anybody. So the guys off the bench, when their bench players come in, they look like starters because it's the same movement, the same offense, and defensively, they just get into you physically.